once again for the renegade master. Back 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 once again for the renegade master.
Hello my renegades, and we are back to All That Is Love Island, on to the next episode, which is the Grafties. And as I always say before I start, if you can hit that subscribe button, hit that notification button, because I am on the road to 1k and I want to see all of you come in and have that chat and start rocking with me basically. So hit that subscribe button. So the one thing I did like is in terms of Wit pulled up Scott in terms of what's going on with him and Abby basically, and he's saying to her that he fancies her, and I'm like, my dude, people would not be asking these questions if they could see that you fancied Abby. We don't see it. We're wondering when we're going to get to see it. We just don't see it. And I love the fact that Wit asked the questions that we were all hankering for the answers for. And as again, Scott, I told you, is a master at versing what he needs to say when he needs to say it. It's just his actions do not match up to the things that are coming out of his mouth. So then we've got Lachlan and Wit becoming exclusive. I like it, I like it, I like it. I do like it. I just hope that they work on the outside. I really do, because I do think they're good together. I mean, I'm a little bit standoffish, backish in terms of Lachlan, and you know, because even though they don't get me wrong, they do show some physical attention, physical affection with each other. I don't think they're very much all into that PDA, but they do show it, and they do show it more so when they've gone to bed and stuff. But I suppose because of the way that some things are edited, it makes it look as though like there isn't that much going on between them, but you know that there's a lot, because now they're exclusive, and I am so happy. I'm so happy that they're exclusive, and I'm hoping that Wit gets her happily ever after when she gets out of that motherfucking villa, let's put it that way. So then we get onto the Grafties. Don't ask me about the titles because I don't remember. All I remember is people reactions in regards to that. So the first one's up, I think it was Abby, and there was Ty and Jess and her date, I kind of think. And basically, I'm glad that they brought up Abby in when she was having the flirt on with Scott, and when she was having speaking to Scott about what Mitch said, and then speaking to Mitch about what Scott said, and then it cuts dead. Now I clocked straight away what the producers were doing when they were shutting that shit down right before the person said the next thing, because as it does and as they do, it plays with the motherfucking minds of these people up in the villa that they can't help themselves but ask the questions or get at the person in regards to that. Now, all I noticed, and as I said in my previous episode, all I noticed in this episode was how Mitch would go at the girls. And Scott, he wouldn't necessarily go at Sammy, and he wouldn't necessarily go at Ty, and he wouldn't necessarily go at Zach, because he sees them three as his boys. But when it came to the girls and everybody else, he was going at them when it came to Abby, this man was just, I was like, you're proper raw dogging yourself up in here, ain't you, my love? Even to the point where it came to the end, and I'm getting ahead of myself, where it came to the end and he accepted his third and final or whatever fucking award it was, because at last the tape was rolled back. As Abby said, we will roll them tapes, my darling, and they did. The tape was rolled back to show that Abby was telling the truth when Mitch was telling Abby that him and Ella B was not going to work outside the villa. Not going to work in the slightest outside the villa, and that is why he was wanting Abby. You could see it working between him and Abby. Hey, I was like, hey, that's what I wanted. That's what I wanted. And Ella B looked like she had proper egg on her face because she didn't believe Abby. She thought Abby was the bitter one and Abby was telling lies to upset the apple cart with them two. But Abby was not telling any lies. And we knew Abby was not telling lies because we saw that shit. We saw that shit. And then it's the fact that Mitch literally tried to circle his way back and talk his way out of that shit. It's the fact he tried to talk his way out of that shit, but couldn't deny the fact that Abby was not lying. Then turned to Ella B and just said, well, I did mention you. At least I said you was beautiful. And I'm like, is it now? But then Ella B's not saying a word, like really not saying a word in that sense. And then when he goes and gets this his award, I was so happy when Scott said what he said and called Mitch a knobhead, because Mitch the bitch is a full-on dickhead. A full-on dickhead. And that's what I've been calling him from. He's a dickhead. He's an absolute drunk. Oh, absolute dolt. Because Scott called him a knobhead, and the fact that nobody else disagreed with him, then he started to go at Scott and started to go at Abby with his insults. And I thought, here it goes again. You're just showing your motherfucking ass again, Mitch. Like, proper showing your ass. And nobody can tell me that that man was not bitter. Nobody can tell me that that man was not bitter. And at that point, you could see that he was still feeling Abby. No one can't tell me he was still feeling Abby. Even to the point of Ella B telling him to come and sit his ass back down. Like, just shut up and come and sit down. And he wouldn't. And why wouldn't he? Because he had to get at Abby. He had to, because he can't help himself. He really can't help himself. And he's just showing how much of an absolute immature twat he really is. Like, seriously how much of an immature twat that he really is. And I really have ran away with myself because I just needed to get into the view, my perspective of how I'm seeing Mitch act and react to Abby and Scott. He's not taking this shit well. So for people to then sit there after this, you can't sit there after this and say Abby bitter. You really can't sit here after you see that and say Abby bitter, because she's not. Abby is not bitter. It's Mitch who is the bitter one and is projecting that shit onto Abby completely. Now we see it. Now that cannot be denied. Now we see it. I just feel great. But yous lot, let me know what you think. So then you also see the situation that was caused between Lachlan and Mitch and Ty as well. Basically the fact that, you know, Lachlan did tell Wheat that this is what Mitch was saying about Abby in regards to saying that he got the ick. Now, they were having a private conversation. It was a private conversation at the end of the day. And then you got Ty trying to call out Lachlan about him doing too much pillow talk with Wheat. And Lachlan says, at the end of the day, I don't give a shit what you say it. To be fair, Lachlan was quite mature with it, but Ty was very immature in his attitude towards Lachlan. At the end of the day, you can't hold people to the same standards that you hold yourself to. So if Ty is thinking, well, that it's bro code, at the end of the day, Lachlan has never once classed himself as one of your bros. You can't hold him to that standard. You can probably hold Mitch to that standard and Sammy to that standard and even to Zach to that standard, because you two are all in your free little clique anyway. But you can't hold Lachlan to that standard. He's a grown ass man. He ain't a child at the end of the day. And if he wants to have that conversation with Wit, he's well within his rights to have that conversation with Wit at the end of the day. So there you go. And also, Abby needed to know. Abby needed to know what Mitch was saying, because he's saying this behind her back and he would never have told it to her face. So Abby needed to know. So I ain't mad at that at all. Then it also brought up the situation where Ella B was having a conversation with Ty. And even though, like, people are saying, oh, I can see where she'd probably get the idea that it was a mixed message from. And even Ella OG, and I'm like, can't you stick up for Ty at this point? Because at the end of the day, as Wit said, it's in the tone of his voice. He was not entertaining her chatter. She was trying to get him switched onto her, but Ty was not looking like that at all. Ty was literally looking straight ahead, frigging messing with himself nervously, because he felt uncomfortable at that point in time when Ellaby was talking to him at that stage. Even though they showed it us again, you could see that he was not giving this girl mixed messages. He just literally said a statement, but it weren't like, oh yeah, the next kid, it's just a shame that was our last kid. He weren't like literally doing that with her like he would do with any other girl. Do you know what I mean? So for OG Ella to turn around and say, well, you know, I can kind of see where she's coming from, that it would give a mixed message. Mixed message where? Mixed message where? Because his body language wasn't equaling up to what was coming out of his mouth. He wasn't showing that open body language to this girl. He was quite closed off, to be fair. And the tone of his voice was proper low. So he was not feeling that chatter. And we could see that. And then they showed the video of when it was the challenge. It was the marry, kiss, pie challenge. And they showed the bit where Whit pied Zach. My girl nearly snapped his neck from here to the fucking Timbuktu, man. That was like a whack attack, man, the way she did that. And then it showed like why she said she did it, and then he told her to shut up, and he's like, are you telling me to shut up? And she went, yeah. And then she was like, it's only a challenge, babe. It's only a challenge, babe. It ain't that serious. And I thought at that point I was kind of thinking, well, you know, you could have took your own advice in the challenge that you did with Ty and Ella, with the you know, the small comment, but you didn't, because that actually did hurt your feelings, and you rectified it. But yeah, you can't be literally flinging out it's only just a challenge, get over yourself, when people get pissed at you for doing what you do, and then don't take your own advice. That's all I'm saying on that one. That is completely all I'm saying on that one. I think there was just a little bit where it showed Zach and Molly's conversation, and then when Zach was having a conversation with the lads, and then it kind of cut off. And I know with that one, Zach weren't saying nothing bad in regards to Molly or the situation or anything like that. He really wasn't saying anything bad. He was basically thinking that he needs to rectify the situation between him and Molly at the end of the day, and they'd already dealt with it. Yes, she said it was a hard watch, but they'd already dealt with it at the end of the day. So there's no use in crying over spilt milk, and then people asking the questions, well, what was you about to say? How's he meant to fucking remember? Like, really? And this is what I mean by the producers doing what they did. They cut it off just at the certain points that they needed to, just to make a point, to cause an issue between a lot of years. And again, they take the bait. They just take the bait. They really do. But there's nothing more that I need to add. There's nothing more that I need to say right now. And I'll be coming back to you with the next episode very, very soon. And as I say, please hit that subscribe button. Please hit that notification button. And I will speak to you all very soon. Peace out.